Even for the most fervent supporters of Disney Star Wars and the agenda that's been in play in Lucasfilm for over a decade now, The Acolyte, it is impossible to deny that this is the biggest Disney Star Wars disaster we've ever seen. Not only the one that's been rejected by fans the most, that's divided people the most, and that's saying something considering some of the projects we've seen from Lucasfilm over the past 12 years. With a 24% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, it's undeniable that fans hate this product. But from a viewing standpoint, it's also the least watched show we've ever seen for Star Wars in history. It's an abomination, and as much as the media tried to deflect, tried to blame this, tried to blame that, we all know the truth, and that's that the media will do anything they can to defend Disney Star Wars, even when they're flat out lying to everyone. But Episode 3, which came out last night. Episode 3 is the one that for a while people have been saying, you know, the first two, they're bad. But 3 is where it goes completely off the rails. We heard this before it even came out. Film Thread publisher Chris Gore warns Star Wars The Acolyte will completely lose everyone at Episode 3. Features lesbians birthing twins. A lot of people thought, how exactly is that going to work? A lesbian witch cult, and you're going to birth twins. Are they going to do some Force Immaculate Conception just like Anakin? Well, sure enough, that's exactly what they did, and people are pissed. The Acolyte makes massive retcon to Star Wars lore, reveals lesbian space witches created life from the Force long before Darth Plagueis. And yes, it was confirmed in last night's episode that that's what happened. You can see the scene right here. You've got one female witch. I carried them, you know, this whole lesbian witch cult they have going on. But then you have the leader, who's the one that actually created them. She is the one that used the Force, or as they refer to it as the thread. That's their version of the Force. They use the thread. The thread connects things. It binds things, blah, blah, blah. This woman right here, whose character, played by Jodie Turner-Smith, is the one that said, we need more women in Star Wars. That cringe rant she went on that said, we haven't had enough female characters. It's good to see female empowerment in Star Wars finally. As if you haven't been paying attention for the last 10 fucking years of Disney Star Wars disasters. And as so many people are kind of pointing out, it feels like intentionally that Disney is continuing to do this with their heroes, whether it's tearing down Luke Skywalker, whether it's tearing down Han Solo, or whether it's tearing down Anakin Skywalker. Lily puts here, this tweet's going pretty big for her, almost 6,000 likes. Not only did they ruin Anakin's redemption, everything that we saw in the sequel trilogy with Rise of Skywalker, with what they did and the way they had Palpatine return so Rey could really be the one to beat him, but they've also ruined his birth. He's no longer special because he wasn't the first to be conceived through the Force. Fuck Disney Star Wars for destroying my favorite character. I do think that this episode is going to be the one where a lot of people can no longer justify anything. And the entire thing is a flashback. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of dumb shit that happens in this episode. This is not an episodic breakdown of what's happening, but this is a peek into some of the things and some of the reasons why people are rejecting this so hard. And if you just want to talk about general cringe, in terms of this, the entire purpose of this series is to make the Jedi look as bad as possible, to make them look like the fucking villains. That's what Disney's been doing a lot of over the past decade, and it continues. This is the worst one we've ever seen. This specifically is trying to delineate, yeah, the Jedi are fucked up. They're really fucking evil people. Acolyte Episode 3 made zero sense, but it did make the Jedi look like total pricks. Disney really hates the Jedi. And apparently they hate their fans because they had to sit through this. This is actually happening. During the little witches' coven, the ascension that was about to happen for the twins. Here it is. This is Disney Star Wars.
Power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
The power of many activist females that let this happen at Lucasfilm, that wanted this to happen, that wanted to create this. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Maybe that's saying something.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
It's hard to keep a straight face through some of this, I'm being honest with you. This is the biggest Disney Star Wars failure we will have ever seen. And we've known it for a long time based on what these people said, what they wanted to do, the things they wanted to push, the agenda that they wanted to push. And now not only is just the writing just miserably bad, not only is the acting leave a lot to be desired, but also just the core themes of what they're doing. The idea that, yes, we need a force immaculate conception, but it has to be with lesbian witches, 100 years before Anakin Skywalker was conceived that way, because he can't be special anymore. We need to have the lesbian witches do force immaculate conception of 2 black female twins. That's really what we want to push for Star Wars going forward. And I imagine that this is going to be the lowest rated episode. I imagine the Rotten Tomato score is going to continue to go down and down and down. It's hard to imagine it goes much lower than 24%. But this is where we are. Disney Star Wars is a total and complete failure because the activists in charge want to tear down everything that people love about Star Wars so they can make it into what they've always wanted it to be. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.